Hello friends, this is part 31 of Angular 14 series, and in this session we'll discuss about that reactive form validation. Okay, so here in this given picture you can see the last one, that other details, which is the date of birth validation, and the date of birth validation actually will accept if that is greater than or equal to 18 years. Okay, so that kind of custom validation, how do we achieve using reactive form, that also I'm going to show you in this session. And by the way, now this session will maybe will be lengthy, and but keep patience. It will help you a lot. Okay, so each and everything I will discuss about that reactive form. So here is the summary, what are the things need to be discussed. Okay, design form using the material. So we'll design the form and the create form service with reactive form group instance. So here we'll create one generic maybe you can say form service where a reactive form will be initiated, and then the add regex validation wherever is required, and form instance HTML view initialization, and then the display error message to DOM dynamically, right? So in my earlier session, if I go to the code template driven, here you can see the custom messages we already kept inside the HTML, right? But this kind of message, how do we manage using reactive form, that also we'll discuss. Okay, and then add info done icon, as this is as usual, we have already done that in that template driven form. And so loader and handle exceptions already discussed, all the three below three mentioned points in part 30. Okay, so let's get into the code. So far for timing, what I have done today. Okay, so reactive sample, that form design already I have created, that pretty simple, straightforward, the sample design. And then I have created one what is called validator. This is one date of birth validator function, custom validator function. We'll discuss about this part. And then maybe message validator. Actually here we are managing the form control messages based on the criteria. Okay, so we'll discuss this part as well. Okay, these two files. And here also I have created one custom service, that is called customer form service, here with the blank template. Now let's let me run this application. So here is the reactive static form. So already there is no validation is applied, nothing else, right? And this is date type input field. Okay, now let's go to the code. So here what I'll do first, I will inject form builder service, which is from reactive form form builder. And using this form builder, here maybe I will write one method init customer form. And here let me open that model. Okay, here is the customer model. So as discussed in my previous session, here is the structure request object to create the customer names and contacts. Okay, other thing will come into this picture, maybe date of birth, and here date of birth will be a string type. Okay, sorry, this one will be, this alias name will be others. Okay, now maybe here in this class we need to mention same others, and this other should have value. Let's save this change. And now we'll create that part Okay, maybe this will return form builder dot. So here you can see that form builder service is having some of the method array, control, group. We'll discuss today about this group one. Okay, this group actually expecting the controls and the options. Okay, so and that object control should be an object, and this object will have like names, and then and as we have that model structure. Now so in this object area, what I'll do, okay, this dot form builder dot again will use the group, because this name will have multiple control, right? So this group actually expecting other controls like first name, and this first name will be must be a control. Okay, so this is actually first name is the independent control, and these are the group name. I am actually logical grouping, you can say. Okay, based on your request object I'm just creating, and this control actually expecting the form state and the options. Okay, so in this scenario we'll put the value as null string, and then the validators, right, form control options. So then form control options, I will use maybe validators dot, this is required, and then again validators dot minimum length. Okay, minimum length would be 3, and validators dot max length maybe 30. Okay, so this way we can validate the control using reactive form. Let me just try to create one first. Let me inject it quickly. Customer form, which will be type of form group, and the inside the constructor customer form equal to this dot form context dot initialize static customer form. Okay, now this customer in the form group, let me keep it at the top, and this customer form I have to mention inside this form element here, maybe form group here, from group name I have, sorry, from group this one, and this is the form group, and this from group is having again another group that is called from group name, names, yes, this name, and names does not exist. Okay, so this is not actually variable, that is why actually it is throwing an error. Okay, and then what I'll do, I'll use form control name, and here is the name. Okay, let me close all the file, and reactive simple component, save this. Okay, so now first name, and this would be the first name. Now moment I added the form control name along with the form group, just let's save this, and here you can see no required HTML5 attribute is there. Okay, so now open. So moment I added that control, so see that star mark symbol is there. Okay, now that field also becoming red, I mean invalid state, right? So now let me quickly add for other control as well. Okay, I have created for other controls names and contacts. Okay, and here is the pattern. So if you want to use the regex pattern, so that validators class is having also that pattern as well. Okay, so inside this pattern, I have created one constant object that is called regex patterns, and here is my regex patterns, and here email and Indian mobile number format and Indian land number format, some regex pattern I have added. Okay, so next thing is others part, right? So let me quickly copy and paste it here. I will use only the required one as of now, and this would be date of birth, and then go to this HTML and let me assign this form control name for others control. Okay, here, and then let me disable the submit button, this form dot invalid. Now let's save this change and let's see in the browser. Yes, so first name is required and last name is required, and then if I put one string only, maybe something is happening. I mean, it is invalid state, but we'll show you how do we manage the error message. Okay, and here number, yes, mobile number is there. Okay, so these are the thing is not validating, as because maybe I missed out something. Okay, so here actually I have missed out that from group alias name, group name, that is called contacts. As you can see here, this is the group name. Now let's save this. Yes, it is applying now. Okay, cool. So how actually it is working here? First DOM control will try to find out the form group name. Once that form group instance is there, this form group is nothing but this whole instance. Okay, and then it will try to separate it out based on this alias name. So here first it will find out three control. One is names, contacts and others. Each control again will have that group. Okay, so that is why we have to provide the group name here. Okay, so this is basically kind of tree structure, and then it will find out the control name. So here we have mentioned the control name first name, then it will check in this object is there any control or not. Okay, that it will found in this group. Yes, this first name is under this name group. Okay, so this way actually it searches inside the DOM. And now next thing is let me check whether that submit save button getting enabled or not. Let me try to put some valid value here. Yes, that is working. And date of birth maybe also, yes, I forgot to mention that alias name here. Okay, so this is also to be required. Okay, so now next thing is to manage the message, right? So we have created one generic message validator, that class extend, we need to do extends message validator. This model I have created here. I'm just explaining this part. I have created one constant value, and that constant is having the required what is called error code, you can see. Okay, error key, that is required max length, min length, pattern, max min, these are the thing. So this is for invalid date of birth. I will talk about in bit later, but here the message validator class is there, and one method is called process message, and this method actually expecting one from group instance. Okay, so based on this from group instance, actually I'm checking that form group, whatever control is coming, that is some logic has written. You can also check offline here by debugging, but this is generic. Okay, no need to change anything here. Okay, so this key and value will be applied only on the control is dirty or touched, and if there is an error, then only that message object will return from here. Okay, so here we need to add that super keyword, and then let me go inside this component. This form dot value changes, that one observable is there, dot subscribe. Okay, if we do subscribe, then maybe this by using the reactive form, if you change anything on the control, then it will notify you, okay, whether which control actually is getting changed or not. And before that, what I'll do, I will use one pipe, and then for pipe, then map debounce time, let's say 100. Okay, after 100 millisecond only that message will appear. Okay, not immediate. So here what I'll do, maybe here I'll create one display message, which will be type of key value pair. This also be string, and by default would be blank. Okay, empty object, then display message equal to this dot from context dot process message. Okay, this process message actually expecting a form group instance. Here is my form group instance. I'll just pass. Okay, so it will detect that based on control error code. So let me show you and open the developer console. Okay, so we'll something is cannot find control with path others date of birth. Okay, let me go to that initial part, others. Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention the form group here. Okay, let's save this change. Okay, nice. Now if I open that, what is called message validator, here just come to this point and put a debugger. Okay, now let's try put one string. Okay, something is not working, unable to lift unknown observable type. Okay, sorry, here I made one mistake, that is called pipe. Yes, this map actually is not required here because I'm not mapping anything directly. I will use the debounce time here. Just let's save this change. Yes, now just put one character here. See, now once you put that character, so total whole form instance will have this model, whatever model you mentioned, the structure here, contacts and names and the others. Okay, so only names, first name, actually you put that I just put the one character here, and let's do continue. And here you can see message validator function actually detecting that control errors. Okay, this control actually I just put the value, the first name, and then errors as created for minimum length. Okay, now if I go to the code, go to that customer form service, here first name, we have added two validator, basically three validator, required and minimum length and maximum length. So required already I put the value, so that required validator is not generated, and but the minimum length generated because only one character we put, so that is why. And if we put that more than 30 character, then also max length validator will come into the picture. Okay, we'll show you. Now next thing is, here is the error key minimum length, and this error key, if it is there, or let me open that message validator as well. If that, here is the some logic has written. Now how many errors, whatever errors are there, just loop through each error key, and it will check that validation keys, I mean it is already in this constant or not. Okay, if it is in this constant, suppose let's say minimum length, in this scenario minimum length is coming. So if you mouse over on this minimum length, you can see this is kind of flat arrow function. Okay, which is expecting one parameters. Okay, now here from this we are passing this parameters. What parameters we are passing? Actually the object, error object. Okay, and this error object will come here, and this object will have actual length and required length. Okay, and based on that we are creating the message here dynamically. Okay, you can customize based on your requirements. And here if I do continue, but now I can see here that the display message actually keeping that those messages. Now if I check inside this component, let's put one more time here, display message object. See, display message object basically formatted based on the control key. Okay, so now if I pass on the control key to this object, then we can directly read the message here. Now let me do that part as well. So here I will use mat error component, because this component will give you some animation and styles and colors. Okay, so here this error message will be visible only on display, sorry, it is not coming, the intelligence, we need to reload the window. Display message, if I pass the control name here, if the message is there, then only this error component would be visible. Okay, here I will write it, sorry, let me format it properly. Yes, now let's save this change. Now let me put 1. Yes, see that animation is coming. Okay, if I remove, yes, minimum 1/3, if I put 2, 3, yes, now error has gone. Yes, so this way we can control the message for each control. Okay, now let me put for all control here. Let me check whether it's working or not for other control. Yes, coming. And mobile number, let's say, yes, this is invalid format. And email, yeah, invalid format is coming. Okay, and the date of birth here, if I put something, and if I clear the field is required, that validation message is coming. Okay, cool. Close all the files, and let me open the HTML here. And then next thing is, if I open that image, add regex pattern, that is done. Add form instance HTML view, yes, done. Displaying error messages, yes, that is done. Add custom validation to validators array. Okay, now this part is very important. Sometimes what happens, we need to have that custom validator, and which is not provided by this Angular reactive form, or maybe by HTML5 also. For that scenario we need to do the custom validator. Okay, so here in this scenario, date of birth, we have requirement, if any customer is having less than 17 years old, then that customer won't be able to apply or you can we cannot do the entry for that customer. Okay, so it will, this field, this control will detect, whether that customer age is greater than or equal to 18 years. Okay, so for that scenario I have already written that custom validator, where is that custom, yes, custom validator, one file, and this file will have, my other, custom functions, validator functions. So here in a dob validator, and it is expecting a control which is type of abstract control, and this, if that control is value is there, then we are actually trying to, differentiating, how many years that customers. Okay, so this years, if the age is less than 18, then that is invalid date of birth, right? And in that scenario the object we are returning here like this, if I, format it. So yes, the returning object is invalid date of birth, and if that is invalid date of birth key is there, then that what is the actual value and the age as on current date. Okay, so that number of years we are sending. So this function basically is returning. Okay, now if I go to that, message validator here, so I have added one key that is called invalid date of birth, and based on that parameters we are generating the message invalid date of birth, age as on current date is this, and that required age must be greater than equal to 18. Then maybe I will go to that form service. Okay, so after this I will use that dob validator here, this function. Okay, because here we can use the custom validator function. Now if I put that, now let's save this change and open the browser here. Now see, moment I put one date here, click outside, that message is showing invalid date of birth, age as on current date is 0 years, and required age must be greater than 18 years. Okay, let me put 10101 on 1989. Maybe yes, this is true, right? Now let me put 2004. Yes, this is true as well. Let me, okay, now this is not true because it is 17 years, whatever date we have mentioned as on in the current date, that is 17 years. Okay, so this is how we can control the custom validation, which is not possible using the template driven validation. Template driven validation kind of purely static part. Okay, but if you want to make it a dynamic, then a lot of code we need to do. Okay, and also in the inside this DOM element, lot of HTML elements will will be there, then that code will be messed up. Okay, for next developer. Okay, now let me put that info icons and all. Okay, here would be visible. I will write one method like validate, and this validate method will expect group name type of string and control name type of string. Okay, and this will return, maybe first I will check on control. Okay, so the form customer form dot get method is there, and if we pass the group name, and then it will again give you the controls, and if I pass that exact control name, then it will give you the exact only one control. Okay, so this get first it will if I provide the group name. Now if I go to that form service, will show you, 1 minute, customer form service. Here if you pass the group name, suppose let's say I'm passing the names, then it will give you 3 controls. Okay, and then if I want to have only one control, then that control name I need to pass. So that is how actually this will work. Okay, now finally we'll have the control, and it will return if the control is touched and the control is dirty. If that is touched and dirty, and obviously that control should be valid. Okay, if it is true, then only we can say that field is validated. Okay, that is true. And here I will pass that, I will pass the group name here. If it is not true, then only info icon would be visible. Otherwise that done symbol, I mean tick symbol, will be visible. Okay, and then mat suffix, and I will use for this text maybe success, and this mat icon I can use that direct accent color from the Angular material. Let's save this change and see whether it is working or not. Okay, I can see yes, the design is there, but yes. Okay, for both scenario I have that, I have to change the conditions here. For done, if that is true, then it will have, and why it is okay, mat suffix I need to add. Cool. Now I can see that info icon, but the tooltip is not coming because I've not added that. Okay, let me put yes, that is invalid. Let me keep yes, that tick symbol is coming. Cool. Now next thing is I need to put that mat tooltip here. And for mat tooltip, what would be the message for that? What I'll do, I need to create that, maybe where is yes custom service. Here I will put one getter and setter message. Let me create that quickly. And here the first name, middle name, last name, what would be the static values for the tooltip. And here I have created one getter, and that getter actually is returning this static constant. Okay, now if I use this static infos, go to here from context dot, and then if I pass the control name, then it will give you the respective tooltip message. Okay, now let's save this change. Now mouse over, yes, it is coming. Okay, so this way we can do I mean whatever you want to do, you can create in the TS file, and that object you can use inside this HTML file. Okay, so that design also will be pretty good. Now let me copy and paste for these two for other controls as well, and just open the browser. And yes, so for other control also the respective tooltip actually is coming in the screen. And then next thing is disable submit button on form invalid state. Already we have done. So loader and handle exceptions. Okay, now so for that part we already have done for template driven, so that I'm just doing copy and paste. Let me copy. Okay, so okay, so need to do some input material. If I pass that save customer, here customer data object actually is asking me, here is my customer form, and then dot what is called value. Okay, so if you use this value property, so it will give you actually the object which you formatted during that form creation. This way, names, then first name with value, middle name with value. I already show you inside the debugger. And now let me quickly check what other things actually need to do. Now let's save this change, and now open the browser, put some valid value here, and then the mobile number, email address, and the valid. Okay, let me put one anonymous value, and then if I put debugger here, you can see that is not working, as because type is submit. Oh sorry, I forgot to attach that submit event. Let's save this change, do one more time. Now if I check here value, see the object, total record object, okay, that others and names and contacts with values and all, so all of the things is coming. Okay, now just do continue. Yes, that is working fine. Some is custom errors. If there is errors, we are already handling the errors message. Okay, now next thing is reset part. So let me quickly describe that as well. Home control here, that react, right, reset. I will use one click, and the customer form will have one method called reset. Okay, if you attach that reset method here, now if I put some value, and let me click on reset. Moment I click reset, all value see, and also the form state also got reset. Okay, so this way we can reset the form as well. So this is the whole idea using the reactive form. And if we use the reactive form, then we do have the full control on the HTML DOM, and we can do whatever we want. So I guess I have done from my side, and just try to do from your end. And if you have anything, don't forget to mention in the comment box. And yes, basically it's purely depends on the practice, okay, and understanding. In my next session, we'll show you the dynamic form creation with all other some other custom validator. Okay, so for that stay tuned and be safe. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.